Da 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 wonk. It's Cryptic Luna. I'm back. I'm angry. I recorded like half of the video's worth of audio and then I realized that I was using the wrong microphone. Anyways, to the point, I'm doing some digital art, or I did digital art. Newsflash, in case you couldn't tell, traditional art, not digital. My bad. This is voiceover me. Hello. So I just kind of went in with, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna draw and hope it turns into something. And I liked it, and then I didn't like it because I overworked it, like I do everything. But so it started off with this weird thing and some shapes, and then there were some Harlequin arms, Harlequin doll arms. And then I drew a weird diamond kite torso. He's gonna go fly in the sky. And then I drew some floating legs. None of his limbs are attached. That seems to be a common theme for me lately, is if I can do so, none of the limbs are attached. We are floating separate beings, floating through the sky without any limbs. They're just floating appendages. I'm a floating appendage. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I drew this weird circle thing around him and a path. I don't know how to describe my thought process. It just kind of built on what I already had. And then I drew some circles because who doesn't want circles? Like I said, every potato begins with a circle. And then from there, I drew this thing, and it was gonna be really cool because it was gonna be like pumpkin style around the sides connecting to the dots. But I suck at circles. So instead, it turned into something completely different because I hated it. So I said, wait for it, scratch it, erase it, get rid of it all! Get it out of here! I'm sorry if I sound very mobile, it's because I am. I'm flailing my arms about because this is the most energetic I've ever been when talking on my own voiceover. And then we have a shark tooth? Scratch that, I don't know what I'm talking about. But there's 3 of them, and then there were stars, and now it looks like a giant mouth with nose markings and eyes eating this floating appendage spirit man. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Then I decided, yes, more floaty things, please. My throne room requires more floaty things. Do you guys like floaty things? Apparently, I like a lot of floaty things. And then there were tendrils. So many tendrils. I can't draw tendrils. It started out great. And then just like everything else, the more that I drew them, the worse that they got. That side was great. Beautiful. Perfect. Lovely. I loved it. And then we got to the right side and something went wrong. Very wrong. And I'd love to be able to really know why this happens to me. If you draw something more, aren't you supposed to get better at it, not slowly degrade within the same drawing? No, line art! Yay, line art! I like line art, it makes things pop. I went in with a graphic micron for this section because I wanted the middle part, the guy, to be like nice, crisp, clear lines. Then I wanted the rest of it to kind of be cave artish. You'll understand what I mean when we get to it. Or maybe more like scroll painting. But this part, I loved how the guy turned out. He looked so crisp and clean. And then I overworked him to death, and then I used a brush pen on him, and then I ruined him. So later I'm gonna try and put it into digital art and fix it. Do I have Minecraft going in the background? I do. Oops. Sorry, I suddenly heard Minecraft music, and I had to go check. Oh look, I fixed the dots, because originally when they got to the top, they just became really long, stretched out noodles. Originally those were all supposed to be more three-dimensional, and then I forgot. Oops. Drawing all the floaty bits. I was so happy with where this drawing was coming about at this point, aside from the fact that everything's kind of wibbly-wobbly and nothing really lines up right, and nothing's even. But that's just my life. And then I took the brush pen, and I started to kind of do more of the less crisp line, more kind of weird, sketchy lines. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. But then later I decided to put the brush pen where it didn't belong, and now I regret it, like everything else. It seems like every time I go back and look at my art, I see where I made mistakes, or where I overworked things, or where I decided something was a good idea when it wasn't. My recording died, so there's a skip, but I also sped up the sound of an eraser, so now you just get to listen to a turbo eraser. So, have fun! Turbo eraser! We all love a good turbo razor here. Ow. I hope that wasn't directly right into the mic. My lungs aren't happy. So I really like that part that I did on the ground, because I think it added a lot of texture and kind of shadowy, wibbly warbly stuff. And then I went a little too overboard with it. And then I started putting the pen and doing things I shouldn't have done. Like this. I started working on that guy. And the torso turned into a mess. And I regret everything. I should have just left the torso be. It was fine. It looked okay. It didn't need all these extra cross-hatching nightmares everywhere. But, you know what happened? The legs I didn't mind. I actually kind of liked how the legs turned out. But I think the legs were really the only thing I should have done. If even the legs. Personally, I should have just left him alone. But I didn't. Regrets. So many regrets. That is my lifestyle. Regrets. And then I add some shadows to the arm. The shadows to the arms were okay. I actually really liked that touch. But yeah. And then I added weird lines to the arms. Again, I overdo it. I don't have the stop button. And then I started going around like this. With the brush pen again. I don't think this is what you're supposed to use a micron brush pen for, but oh well. I did it. Get over it. And then at this point, I was like, this is getting really hard to do. Man, maybe I should have turned it from the start. I smart. So I just kind of went around the whole edge with the black, which I actually really liked. And then I added the shadows from within it, which I really liked. I should have kept it below There are places where I put it in between the floaty bits, and I shouldn't have. That part was fine. This part was fine. And those parts were not. And then I started touching the head with the brush pen, which made it worse. I should have left the guy, like, clear white, because then he would have actually stood out against that harsh, like, shadow background, but now he just kind of blends in with it. And then I did some weird, very, 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 very faint pencil shading across the back. Very faint. It's almost non-existent. Choices. You all have choices. Make better ones than me. So then I proceeded to sign it. And that's it. Bye.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.